Tim's Opinion, and a special episode. It's the second annual Tim Makes a Fool of Himself by Trying to Predict the Tony Awards show. Actually, I did really well last year, getting something like 20 or 21 awards correct, so maybe I'll start a good streak here. What I'll do is go down every category, maybe give some opinions on the nominees, talk about some snubs, if I were a Tony voter, who I would have voted for, and who I think will win. This will also give you a good idea of at least some of the people I voted for when the Outer Critics and the Drama Desk Awards came around, allowing that there were off-Broadway nominees that I may have voted for that aren't listed here. Overall, I think the Broadway season this year was great for plays, but it was a really weak season for musicals, particularly new musicals. But the plays were great. Purlie victorious, Jaja's African hair braiding, appropriate, I Need That. All fantastic plays that were all worth seeing this season, whether they were revivals or new. So I think it was a really strong season for plays and a relatively weak season for musicals. So with that in mind, I'm just going to take the nominees as listed on the Tony Awards website in inverse order. So if you want to look at the categories and nominees and follow along with me, go to the Tony site and go to the bottom and work your way up. So for the first category, we have Best Orchestrations. The nominees are Timo Andres for Illinoise, Tom Kitt and Adam Blackstone for Hell's Kitchen, Will Butler and Justin Craig for Stereophonic, Justin Levine, Matt Hinckley and Jamestown Revival, Jonathan Clay and Zach Chance for The Outsiders, and Jonathan Tunick for Merrily We Roll Along. Well, congratulations, we had the first category where I feel there was a snub. Adam Guettel and Jamie Lawrence deserved a nomination for the excellent orchestrations of Days of Wine and Roses, giving the score that signature sophisticated jazz of the 1950s and 60s the show emulates. It's definitely better than Hell's Kitchen and The Outsiders. Of the nominees, my personal pick would be Timo Andres for Illinoise. I love the arrangements and diverse instrumentation of the score, but I think the winner will be Tom Kitt and Adam Blackstone for Hell's Kitchen. It's not my favorite show of the season, but I think Tony voters will be more gracious with it than I. Frankly, this is a category I feel least confident in, so we'll see. For Best Choreography, the nominees are Camille A. Brown for Hell's Kitchen, Jesse Robb and Shayna Carroll for Water for Elephants, Rick Cooperman and Jeff Cooperman for The Outsiders, Annie B. Parson for Here Lies Love, and Justin Peck for Illinoise. If Illinoise hadn't opened this year, this would have been a much tougher category, and if that was the case, I would have gone for the Cooperman brothers for The Outsiders. I loved their use of choreography to contrast the cultural differences of the Socs and the Greasers, but Peck gave us a marvelous story told through dance with Illinoise and should be an easy lock. For Best Direction of a Musical, the nominees are Maria Friedman for Merrily We Roll Along, Michael Greif for Hell's Kitchen, Lee Silverman for Suffs, Jessica Stone for Water for Elephants, and Danya Taymor for The Outsiders. Jessica Stone took the win for Water for Elephants at both the Outer Critics and the Drama Desk, so she's the frontrunner, but I think Maria Friedman may be the dark horse here that will take the win. Regardless of whether you're a fan of the show, the fact that she took Merrily We Roll Along, something that royally flopped upon its first release in 1981, and turned it into one of the biggest hits of the last 2 years says a lot. Friedman should get the win, but I think there's a lot of sentiment for Stone's work for Water for Elephants. Still, I'm sticking to my guns with Friedman, my pick, and for the win. The nominees for Best Direction of a Play are Daniel Auken for Stereophonic, Anne Kaufman for Mary Jane, Kenny Leon for Purlie Victorious, and Non-Confederate Romp Through the Cotton Patch, Lila Neugbauer for Appropriate, and Whitney White for Jaja's African hair braiding. This is a great category, especially with Kenny Leon, Daniel Auken, and Lila Neugbauer, who all directed amazing shows. I think Stereophonic is the Tony darling this year, and the complex nature of staging Stereophonic with all the wild sound elements will lock in a win for Daniel Auken. Speaking of sound, the nominees for Best Sound Design for a Musical are Nick Lidster for Autograph for Cabaret at the Kit Kat Club, Kai Harada for Merrily We Roll Along, Gareth Owens for Hell's Kitchen, ML Dog and Cody Spencer for Here Lies Love, and Cody Spencer for The Outsiders. I think this is the category where we're most likely to see a win for Here Lies Love. The necessary design adaptations to make the David Byrne and Fatboy Slim score fill the Broadway theater and its adapted staging makes Here Lies Love a firm contender and my pick. But I think Cabaret with the various immersive musical elements will get the win. As for Best Sound Design of a Play, the nominees are Justin Ellington and Stefania Bulbarella for Jaja's African Hair Braiding, Leah Gelpy for Mary Jane, Tom Gibbons for Grey House, Bray Poor and Will Pickens for Appropriate, and Ryan Rumery for Stereophonic. Another great category, I am thrilled that Tom Gibbons was remembered for the amazing design for Grey House, and Bray Poor and Will Pickens' sound design for Appropriate is amazing as well, but Ryan Rumery and Stereophonic should be the winner here with its recreation of a sound studio. It's fantastic and should get the win. On to lighting. The nominees for Best Lighting in a Musical are Brandon Sterling Baker for Illinoise, Bradley King and David Bengali for Water for Elephants, Isabella Bird for Cabaret at the Kit Kat Club, Natasha Katz for Hell's Kitchen, and Brian McDevitt and Hannah S. Kim for The Outsiders. This is another great tight category, but I think Brian McDevitt and Hannah S. Kim, who won the category in both the Outer Critics and the Drama Desk, will win here as well, especially with the use of the lighting during the Rumble sequence, which was amazing. Best Lighting of a Play, though, is a category I think is a bit more difficult to pin down. The nominees are Isabella Bird for An Enemy of the People, Amith Chandrasekhar for Prayer for the French Republic, Ji-Yoon Chang for Stereophonic, Jane Cox for Appropriate, and Natasha Katz for Grey House. Assuming there are enough voters who stomached seeing Grey House, Natasha Katz should win this category. But I think Jane Fox, who has a more palatable show to work with, will get the win. I picked Grey House, but Appropriate will win. From sound, we move to Best Costumes, starting with Best Costume Design of a Musical. The nominees are Didi Ayet for Hell's Kitchen, Linda Cho for The Great Gatsby, David Israel Reynoso for Water for Elephants, Tom Scott for Cabaret at the Kit Kat Club, Paul Tazewell for Suffs. This category will come down to Linda Cho's jazz-era costumes for The Great Gatsby or Paul Tazewell's fantastic period costumes with Suffs covering a wider period of time. It's a coin toss, I think, so if either win, I won't complain, but I'm going to put my money on Linda Cho and The Great Gatsby. Now on to Best Costume Design of a Play. The nominees are Didi Ayet for Appropriate, Didi Ayet for Jaja's African Hair Braiding, Enver Chakratosh for Stereophonic, Emilio Sosa for Purlie Victorious, a Non-Confederate Romp Through the Cotton Patch, and David Zinn for An Enemy of the People. All solid nominees. I don't think there is necessarily a standout, but I think Jaja, Stereophonic, and Purlie Victorious are the front-runners. I think Jaja's is engaging and brilliant in color, but I think the Tony voters will go the same route as the Drama Desk and Enver Chakratosh's period-perfect costumes that meticulously evolve over the course of the play will win for Stereophonic. It's my pick, and also my pick to win. Next is Best Scenic Design of a Musical. The nominees are Robert Brill and Peter Negrini for Hell's Kitchen, AMP featuring Tatiana Kavijian for The Outsiders, Takeshi Kata for Water for Elephants, David Corrins for Here Lies Love, Ricardo Hernandez and Peter Negrini for Lempicka, Tim Hatley and Finn Ross for Back to the Future the Musical, Tom Scott for Cabaret at the Kit Kat Club. Who will win? Water for Elephants and its train, the completely renovated Broadway theater for Here Lies Love, Back to the Future and its flying DeLorean, the immersive world of the Kit Kat Club and Cabaret. There are strong arguments for all these nominees. All the flaws that I have with the production of Cabaret, one thing where it didn't drop the ball is Robert Brill and Peter Negrini's scenic design. From the moment you enter the alley of the Kit Kat Club, you are immersed into the decadence world of Cabaret. As good or bad as you may consider the rest of the show, the scenic design is masterful and should win. The nominees for Best Scenic Design of a Play are Dots for An Enemy of the People, Dots for Appropriate, Derek McLean for Purlie Victorious, a Non-Confederate Romp Through the Cotton Patch, David Zinn for Jaja's African Hair Braiding, and David Zinn for Stereophonic. Any other year, Dots' awesome design for the Lafayette family home would be a clear winner, but David Zinn's meticulously detailed sound studio set of Stereophonic should win. On to the performance categories. The first is Best Featured Performance by an Actress in a Musical. The nominees are Shoshana Bean for Hell's Kitchen, Amber Iman for Lempicka, Nikki M. James for Suffs, Leslie Rodriguez Kritzer for Monty Python's Spamalot, Keisha Lewis for Hell's Kitchen, Lindsay Mendez for Merrily We Roll Along, and Bebe Neuwirth for Cabaret at the Kit Kat Club. There are some amazing nominees here, most of them worthy of the win, but Keisha Lewis's passionate performance as Allie's mentor, Miss Liza Jane, should be the winner. The nominees for Best Featured Performance by an Actor in a Musical are Roger Bart for Back to the Future the Musical, Joshua Boone for The Outsiders, Brandon Victor Dixon for Hell's Kitchen, Sky Lakota Lynch for The Outsiders, Daniel Radcliffe for Merrily We Roll Along, and Steven Skybel for Cabaret at the Kit Kat Club. I think this category will come down to Steven Skybel for his memorable performance as Herr Schultz in Cabaret, and Daniel Radcliffe for his superb performance as Charlie Kringus in Merrily We Roll Along. I think this is Radcliffe's year. I remembered his performance going all the way back to when the show was at New York Theater Workshop. I loved it. Radcliffe will get the win. Now for the Best Featured Performance by an Actress in a Play. The nominees are Quincy Tyler Bernstein for Doubt, a Parable, Juliana Canfield for Stereophonic, Celia Keenan Bolger for Mother Play, Sarah Pidgeon for Stereophonic, and Kara Young for Purlie Victorious, a Non-Confederate Romp Through the Cotton Patch. This is another well-rounded category. Celia Keenan Bolger and Sarah Pidgeon make strong candidates, but I think Kara Young's adorably dynamic performance as Ludi Bell Gussie Mae Jenkins will win. The nominees for Best Featured Performance by an Actor in a Play are Will Brill for Stereophonic, Eli Gelb for Stereophonic, Jim Parsons for Mother Play, Tom Pachinka for Stereophonic, and Corey Stoll for Appropriate. This is tough. Having three members from the same show spotlights the ensemble nature of Stereophonic, but that can work to the nominees' disadvantage. Though Jim Parsons doesn't stray too far from playing a character that is in his wheelhouse, he has elevated the role of Carl in Mother Play. If the handicap of so many ensemble roles in the same category doesn't hinder Stereophonic, I think Tom Pachinko will take the lead as the domineering band leader Peter, and will take the win. And in all seriousness, I would think that Peter and also Sarah Pidgeon should have been nominated for lead, not featured performer. And in this case, I think it'll work in Tom Pachinko's favor, and he will be the winner. On to lead roles in musicals. First with Best Performance by an Actress in a Leading Role in a Musical. The nominees are Eden Espinosa for Lempicka, Malia Joy Moon for Hell's Kitchen, Kelly O'Hara for Days of Wine and Roses, Marianne Plunkett for The Notebook, and Gail Rankin for Cabaret at the Kit Kat Club. This is Kelly O'Hara's award to lose. Her performance as Kirsten Arneson, who falls into oblivion through alcoholism, is powerful and gut-wrenching, and her vocals were masterful. She won every other award for this show, so why not the Tony? The nominees for Best Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role in a Musical are Brody Grant for The Outsiders, Jonathan Groff for Merrily We Roll Along, Dorian Harewood for The Notebook, Brian Darcy James for Days of Wine and Roses, and Eddie Redmayne for Cabaret at the Kit Kat Club. If there is a category where I wish I got a tie, it's this one. Can't I just have Brian Darcy James and Jonathan Groff both win? Thankfully, Groff was nominated for The Outer Critics last year, so I didn't have to make that decision as a voter myself. The biggest injustice would be if the two split the vote and a third swoops in and takes the win. If either of them wins, I will be elated. But since I have to make a choice for this, I'm going to go with Brian Darcy James as Arneson. It's a complex role, and his performance is brutal, amazing, and he matches Kelly O'Hara beat for beat. Not taking anything away from Jonathan Groff, because Groff was awesome also. Not making anything easier for myself, the next category is Best Performance by an Actress in a Leading Role in a Play. The nominees are Betsy Adam for Prayer for the French Republic, Jessica Lange for Mother Play, Rachel McAdams for Mary Jane, Sarah Paulson for Appropriate, and Amy Ryan for Doubt, a Parable. Like Brian Darcy James and Jonathan Groff, this category is going to be a head-to-head between Jessica Lange and Sarah Paulson, who both took the Drama Desk for Best Lead Performance in a Play. In the end, though, I think Jessica Lange will be the one to eke out the win and come out on top. On to Best Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role in a Play. The nominees are William Jackson Harper for Uncle Vanya, Leslie Odom Jr. for Purlie Victorious, a Non-Confederate Romp Through the Cotton Patch, Liev Schreiber for Doubt's a Parable, Jeremy Strong for An Enemy of the People, and Michael Stuhlbarg for Patriots. I'm a little disappointed that Danny DeVito got snubbed here for I Need That. His performance was amazing and deserved to be among these nominees. Since the outer critics of the Drama Desk have gotten rid of gender-specific acting categories, there's not much to hint at who will win here, since the ladies took those awards in that category. I think it'll come down to either Liev Schreiber or Jeremy Strong. Though I wasn't a big fan of this production of An Enemy of the People, Strong did stand out as a highlight as the beleaguered Dr. Thomas Stockman. But I think Liev Schreiber played Father Flynn perfectly, never betraying any kind of guilt for what he is accused of, and should win the Tony. Now for Best Revival of a Musical. The nominees are Cabaret at the Kit Kat Club, Gutenberg, the musical, Merrily We Roll Along, and The Who's Tommy. Aside from Merrily, this is a pretty weak category. If it doesn't win, the world is wrong. The nominees for Best Revival of a Play are Henrik Ibsen's An Enemy of the People, a new version by Amy Herzog, Appropriate by Brandon Jacobs Jenkins, and Purlie Victorious, a Non-Confederate Romp Through the Cotton Patch by Ossie Davis. Another category that should be a sure thing, Appropriate should easily take the win. Next is Best Original Score, music and or lyrics written for the theater. The nominees are Days of Wine and Roses, music and lyrics by Adam Cattell, Here Lies Love, lyrics by David Byrne, music by David Byrne and Fatboy Slim, The Outsiders, music and lyrics by Jamestown Revival, Jonathan Clay and Zach Chance and Justin Levine, Stereophonic, music and lyrics by Will Butler, and Suffs, music and lyrics by Shayna Taub. I'm glad that Days of Wine and Roses is nominated, and if I had my druthers, it would be the winner, but it hasn't really received the love that I would have liked it to have received in other awards, so I think it'll go to Suffs and Shayna Taub. So my vote would go to Days of Wine and Roses, but I think Suffs will win. For Best Book of a Musical, the nominees are Hell's Kitchen by Christopher Diaz, The Notebook by Becca Brunstetter, The Outsiders by Adam Rapp with Justin Levine, Suffs by Shayna Taub, and Water for Elephants by Rick Elise. A stub towards Days of Wine and Roses here. The book, I think, is better than most of these nominees, but I think Shayna Taub will take the double win here. Okay, time for the final two categories. Let's start with Best Musical. The nominees are Hell's Kitchen, Illinoise, The Outsiders, Suffs, and Water for Elephants. This isn't a strong season for new musicals. Even my favorite musical of the year, Days of Wine and Roses, had weaknesses, which I spotlight in my reviews of the show. If I have to pick a winner of these nominees, it'll have to be Suffs. It's not a strong show, but it's better than anything else here. The last category is Best Play. The nominees are Jaja's African Hair Braiding by Jocelyn Bayo, Mary Jane by Amy Herzog, Mother Play by Paula Vogel, Prayer for the French Republic by Joshua Harmon, and Stereophonic by David Ajmi. Stereophonic is the Tony darling of the season, and its very human portrayal of a band falling apart as it attempts to create a masterpiece album should beat strong showings by Paula Vogel and Amy Herzog. So that's it. Let me know who you think will win and who you thought may have been snubbed. If you see the awards and then see the show, let me know what you think of the results. Make fun of me if I totally blow everything and get everything wrong. It's okay. Be respectful, but you can make fun of me. It's all right. Anyway, thanks for sticking with me through this, and I will see you at the theater.